Hey everyone! Welcome to Make English Easy. I'm Hazel, and today I'm diving into how to talk to anyone with confidence, so you can join conversations, share your thoughts, and connect with people effortlessly. I remember being at a lively networking event once, surrounded by a group chatting about travel writing, a topic I am passionate about. I had so many stories to share from my trips and tips I'd learned over the years, but I froze. My heart started racing, and I worried about interrupting or sounding awkward. I stayed quiet, just nodding along, and later regretted not joining in. Does that sound familiar? That fear of being judged or saying the wrong thing is something we all face at some point. It feels like a wall between you and the conversation you want to be part of. But here's the good news. Confidence in conversations is a skill you can build. And today, I'm sharing simple, practical ways to overcome those fears and talk to anyone with ease. Let's get started. Let's first explore why starting or joining a conversation can feel so hard. Often, it comes down to nervousness or self-doubt. Our minds start overthinking, worrying about what others might think or whether we'll say something silly. For those learning English as a second language, this can feel even tougher. You might stress about grammar, pronunciation, or finding the right words, which adds another layer of anxiety. I've been there myself. When I was younger, I used to overthink every sentence, afraid I'd mispronounce a word or use the wrong tense. It felt like everyone was watching me, even though they probably weren't. This fear is natural. It's part of our human instinct to want to belong and avoid rejection. But here's a truth that changed how I see conversations. Most people aren't judging you as harshly as you think. They're often too focused on their own thoughts or just happy someone is engaging with them. The key to breaking through this mental barrier is shifting your mindset and building habits that make you feel prepared and confident. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill you develop through practice. Before you even speak, your mindset and body language set the stage for a confident conversation. Let's start with mindset. If you go into a chat thinking you'll mess up or that others won't care what you say, you're setting yourself up for anxiety. Instead, try reframing those thoughts with positive, realistic ones. Tell yourself that if you make a mistake, it's just a moment to learn from, or that you're there to share and connect, not to be perfect. I started doing this before events, reminding myself that people want to hear my ideas and that I'll learn something by joining in. Over time, this mindset became automatic, and I stopped overanalyzing every word. Your body language is just as important as what you say. Standing tall with your shoulders back makes you feel stronger and more in control. I used to slouch when I felt nervous, and it made me feel like I was trying to hide. When I started standing straight, I noticed people responded differently. They seemed more engaged and open. A genuine smile is another powerful tool. It signals that you're approachable and friendly, and it can even reduce stress in your body. I practiced smiling in a mirror to make it feel natural, and it made a big difference in how people reacted to me. Your voice plays a big role too. Speak clearly at a moderate volume, not too loud to seem aggressive, but not so quiet that people struggle to hear you. If you're learning English, don't worry about having a perfect accent. Focus on being clear and pacing yourself. I once worked with a student who was so self-conscious about her accent that she barely spoke. When she practiced speaking slowly and clearly, she was amazed at how much more confident she felt and how much easier it was for others to understand her. Your tone matters too. Aim for a warm, welcoming tone that invites connection. Saying something like, "Hi, it's nice to meet you," with a friendly tone feels very different from a flat or rushed version. Your body language isn't just about you, it's about making others feel comfortable. Face the person you're talking to, keep your arms relaxed instead of crossed, and nod occasionally to show you're listening. These small actions create a positive cycle. You feel more confident, others feel at ease, and the conversation flows better. So, how do you start a conversation, especially with someone new? One of the easiest ways is to make a simple observation about your shared environment. If you're at a party, you might say something like, "This music is so lively, isn't it?" Or at a cafe, "This place has such a cozy vibe." These comments are low pressure because they're about something you both experience, and they invite a response without being pushy. I once said at a work event, "These appetizers are amazing. Have you tried the spring rolls?" The person lit up, shared their favorite dish, and we ended up chatting for a while about food and travel. Another great way to start is by asking open-ended questions that can't be answered with just yes or no. Try something like, "What brought you to this event?" Or, "I noticed your cool phone case. What's the story behind it?" These questions show genuine curiosity and spark longer responses. I remember asking someone at a conference, "What's been your favorite session so far?" They shared a story about a workshop they loved, and it led to a great discussion about our shared interests. You can also create a moment of connection by offering or asking for small help. At a busy event, you might say, "Need a hand carrying those drinks?" Or, "Do you know where the registration table is?" These small gestures break the ice and make the other person feel like you're on the same team. I once asked a stranger at a bookstore, "Have you seen the new releases section?" It turned out they were looking for it too, and we ended up browsing together and chatting about our favorite authors. Compliments are another fantastic way to start. Make them sincere and specific. Like, "That scarf is so vibrant. Where did you find it?" Or, "Your presentation earlier was so engaging." These make the other person feel good and give them an easy way to respond, like sharing where they got the item or what inspired their talk. I once complimented someone's unique earrings at a friend's party, and it led to a fun conversation about their travels to buy handmade jewelry. Just be genuine. People can sense when a compliment isn't heartfelt. Once the conversation starts, keeping it going is the next step. The secret is active listening paired with thoughtful responses. When someone shares something, listen closely and ask follow-up questions tied to their last point. If they say they just got back from a hiking trip, ask where they hiked or what the best view was. These questions show you're paying attention and encourage them to share more. I once met someone who mentioned they loved cooking, so I asked, "What's your go-to dish to impress guests?" They shared a recipe for a spicy pasta dish, and we ended up swapping cooking tips for a long time. Sharing a bit about yourself keeps the conversation balanced. If they mention a hobby like reading, you could say, "I love reading too. What kind of books do you enjoy? I'm into mysteries right now." This gives them something to respond to without taking over the conversation. Use small phrases like, "Oh really?" or "That's so cool" to show you're engaged, and nod to encourage them to keep going. Mirroring their emotions can deepen the connection. If they share something exciting, like getting a new job, respond with enthusiasm. "That's amazing! Congratulations! What do you do?" If they mention something tough, like a stressful week, show empathy. "That sounds tough. What's been going on?" These responses make them feel heard and keep the conversation natural. There are a few common mistakes that can shake your confidence or derail a conversation. One is over-explaining or apologizing too much. If you keep saying sorry or adding unnecessary details, it can make you seem unsure, even if your idea is solid. I used to ramble when I was nervous, explaining why I liked a certain movie or book in way too much detail. When I started keeping my answers concise, people responded better and I felt more confident. Another mistake is not listening fully. If you're too focused on planning your next response, you miss what they're saying and the conversation feels one-sided. Think of it like a game of catch. You have to catch their words before throwing back your own. Avoiding eye contact is another pitfall. Looking at the person while they speak shows you're engaged and confident. You don't need to stare, just glance at them naturally. I once noticed a friend who always looked at the floor when talking, and it made her seem shy, even though she had great ideas. When she started making eye contact, people paid more attention to her. Lastly, don't dominate the conversation. It's tempting to keep talking to fill silence, especially if you're nervous, but this can make the other person feel sidelined. Pause and ask a question to bring them back in. Ending a conversation gracefully is just as important as starting one. A good exit leaves a positive impression and makes the other person feel valued. If you need to move on, mention a natural reason like, "I should check in with my friend now," or "I need to grab a drink before the next session." You can also express appreciation. "It was so great talking to you. Thanks for sharing." To keep the door open for future chats, try "Let's catch up again soon," or "I'd love to hear more about that next time." Ending with a friendly "Have a great day," or "Enjoy the rest of the event" wraps things up warmly. I once had a great chat about gardening at a community event. When it was time to go, I said, "This was so fun. I'm definitely going to try your tip about composting. Let's swap more ideas next time." They smiled, and we ended up connecting again later. A graceful exit makes the other person feel good and sets the stage for future conversations. The key to all of this is listening. Truly hearing someone, their words, tone, and emotions makes them feel valued and understood. It also takes the pressure off you because you don't have to come up with brilliant things to say, you just respond to what they share. When you listen well, you'll naturally pick up on cues to keep the conversation going, like asking about a detail they mentioned or sharing a related experience. For English learners, listening can also help you pick up new phrases and improve your fluency without trying. I had a student who struggled to keep conversations going because she focused so hard on speaking perfectly. I encouraged her to focus on listening instead, repeating back a key word or idea to show she understood. For example, if someone said they loved hiking in the mountains, she'd say, "Mountains? That sounds fun. What's your favorite trail?" This small shift made her conversations feel more natural and she gained confidence. The best way to make these tips stick is to practice consistently. Confidence grows with experience, like learning to ride a bike or play an instrument. Start small. Try striking up a short chat with a cashier, a coworker, or a friend. Next time you're at a cafe, say to the barista, "This coffee smells amazing. What's in it?" Or ask a colleague, "How's your day going?" These low-stakes moments help you get comfortable. After each chat, reflect on what went well and what you could try differently. You can even keep a journal to track your progress. Write down one conversation a day and what you learned. For English learners, practice can also mean focusing on specific skills, like pronunciation or vocabulary. Try repeating phrases like, "That's so interesting, tell me more," in front of a mirror. You can also watch English shows or listen to podcasts and mimic how native speakers start or end conversations. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. If English isn't your first language, conversations can feel extra challenging. But you're not alone. Focus on communication, not perfection. People care more about your ideas than your grammar. Practice phrases like, "Can you repeat that, please?" Or, "I'm not sure I understood. Could you explain?" to handle misunderstandings confidently. Prepare a few go-to questions in advance, like, "What do you do for fun?" Or, "Have you seen any good movies lately?" Knowing you have these ready can reduce anxiety. Practice in low-pressure settings, like online language exchange apps or with a friend who's a native speaker. These safe spaces let you experiment and build confidence. I hope these tips inspire you to step into conversations with ease and share your amazing ideas. What's one tip you're excited to try? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you found this helpful, subscribe to Make English Easy for more practical tips to make your English journey fun and stress-free. Thanks for joining me today. Keep practicing and take care. Bye for now.